Right then, people, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, you remember what happened in the last video when we were on track in France. We did break fourth gear. It's been 2 or 3 weeks since we've come back from France. I've still driven the car. We've nursed the car back home. I've driven the car to go Japan, which was last weekend, and the car is perfectly fine. As long as I didn't rag the car in fourth gear or rag the car at all, the car would be perfectly fine. So now, Saturday the 14th of September, we've now just come back down to the unit. We're going to take the EK9 out the unit and we're going to start taking the gearbox apart so we can replace the fourth gear. While the car's out the garage, we are going to double check to see if we do still have that fourth gear lying around. If we do, then we're perfect. We'll dismantle the car, take the gearbox out. We'll then take the gears out of the spare part box, and then we'll put it all back together, make sure we clean it up with enough brake cleaner, and then we'll reassemble it with obviously Honda Bond and all the correct torque figures, and we'll put it back in the car. So hopefully we don't have any issues today. I am by myself today. So I will be taking the car out the garage and doing it outside. Usually when I do the gearbox, I usually take the car apart when the car's in the garage itself, so I can then shut the garage door. But hopefully if Reese comes down later on, he'll give me a hand. He is working, so possibly he will come back. If not, I'll try and attempt it myself, and then we'll see how it is. I don't have my tripod today, so we won't do any time lapse or anything on them lines today, but in the future we are thinking of doing some time lapse just to make the video look so everyone knows what we're doing in these videos. But stay tuned and we'll get on with this video. So if you don't remember what happened to the gearbox, I'll put a little clip in right now. Off. We got a casualty from the gearbox, fourth gear has lost one spline or whatever it is. We lost fourth on track. It was the last session out in Honda Euromeet, and we thought Archliner come out or something that's not mechanical related happened, but we come off track. We drove around outside of the track, and yeah, it did confirm that fourth gear was gone. We could still drive in first, second, third, fifth and sixth. Previously when the fourth gear went, it was no longer drivable. The amount of vibrations in every single gear was insane, but luckily this time it didn't break a lot. It was because we were in low boost. Whenever I'm on track, I only drive in low boost. Full boost is too much power for my skill at the moment, but we will slowly get into that power. But here's the car in question. It's the EK9 K24 Frank swap, engine built by Delana built. Dom previously built the gearbox, been perfectly fine for 3 years. K20 gearbox, we had 2 in this car and they both stripped within 1 month. So let's get this started. First we're going to take the bonnet off. It's just a K-Tune quick release hinges. We just lift it up to 90 degrees and the bonnet comes straight off. The bonnet's now off. Now you can see the engine bay properly. The video will be coming soon on this car, so we'll show you a nice little drive about and show you the specs of this vehicle. But here is how it stands. Now let's get everything taken apart. So while we're there, we're taking off the catch can. This is by Unknown Fab, a really nice bit of equipment. I think it holds like 3 litres. This sits in the factory location for where the battery and the fuse box goes. Since I fitted it, I've only done about 2,000 miles, but 2 track days, and I'm going to double check how much fluid comes out. It's not full, but it does feel a little bit heavy. So we're going to check that and drain it all into this. Let's see. To be honest, that's normal. That's not too bad, you know. So, turbo's off. There is a lot of heat management I had to do on this. What seems to be the problem is when I was on track, I think this pipe got too hot and split because I didn't pull that off at all. So that is more than likely, oh yeah, that's more than likely what failed on the track. But we need to do some more type of heat management to try and not let that happen again. But that is the reason why it felt like it was rapid on the last session. But minor, we're going to take it all apart and then we should be good. So the car's now jacked up, got the fluid draining, and if we look at the bolt, there's not too much metal from what we saw when we come off track. but everything seems to be decent. From obviously driving from the track back to the hotel, back to Calais, and then obviously go to Japan as well. The 2 top bolts are removed for the gearbox, and then I'm going to remove the rear mount now that the fluid is draining. I'm not sure where we left, but oh, easy. Drive shafts are out. We've also got the rear engine mount out. There is one more bolt we've got to take out for, you see it right somewhere there, and then I've just put the top bolt back in just so we can lower it down, and then the engine mount there over there as well. That's what we're going to be removing. We're going to drop the whole thing, see how it goes, and yeah, literally not getting on quite nicely. Just time consuming obviously because of turbo, because you've got to remove the turbo first in order to get to half the bolts. But what I do want to do is I want to change this setup right here. I've got vacuum lines going into it, and I reckon the reason why it broke on track was this line. When we got to it, we pulled it off and it come off straight away. So yeah, we reckon that's how it could have broken. But we're going to put some Loctite onto these studs. The bolts I might replace if we can find some in the garage, and then yeah, probably the next video will probably be us taking the gearbox actually out of the car. All right, gearbox is now out. Chilling over there right next to Luke. The first time dismantling my own gearbox. Take a few bits off, just trying to find more tools, and then this comes off as well as all these and this. Oh, that's broken, but minor. 12mm washer spring ball. 14mm. Oh, it's a reverse lockout. 8mm Allen key with Honda Bond. So, speed sensor, 12mm, 27mm, I think on the reverse switch. Longer 12mm goes in this one. Long 12 also goes in line with the rear stud if you're looking at the front of the gearbox. Now the gearbox is taken apart. We found, oh, where is it, there you go. You see 4th gear right where my finger is. We're missing a couple of teeth. I did throw one of the teeth over there, as you can see, but luckily we do have spares. We're just going to take it apart and inspect it all, and then put it back together. Next up, while the phone is on charge, we've got the casing, this bit all cleaned up. That looks fucking mint. And then we are now about to put, where's the gear? This in the press. Obviously 6 gears already been sold, and you've got 5th, 4th. That's the 4th gear I need for my gearbox, so we can replace, oh, where is it? We can replace, where is it gone? There it is. It's that is what happened. So you can see the broken 4th gear. We've now replaced the 4th gear on the shaft. We inspected this one. All the synchros are all still perfectly fine. Everything is how it should be. There's the diff. And then yeah, we just have to go reference, because I started taking everything apart, putting it on that box. So I was just looking at some old ones I had lying around. But yeah, at least we got home with this. The gear set is now back in the box. One section of the box. We're just gonna put this on in a second after we eat, and then we'll be able to put liquid gasket on it. We'll test fit it first and then go from there. But yeah, not bad for the first time doing this properly. Once it's put back together, I'll put it back in the car. All right, a few hours have gone by. I've just been having a nap, chilling, but the box is put back together. This is my first box that I've rebuilt anyway. Everything seems to work. It works in all the gears. Like you can tell by the diff, the way you're moving this controls the way it moves in there when you change the gear. Like that's reverse, as you can hear, but everything seems to be fine. True test is when we put it back in the car. So, don't know where we last left off, but it's now night time. Gearbox is in, as well as all of the shifter cables. Drive shaft's now in. Can't see, the side's already done. This side we're still in the middle of doing. But yeah, let's carry on with this, and then we can get the car on the ground. We're not going to fully button it up today. We're going to continue the car tomorrow once we come back, as it is about 10 o'clock right now, so we're trying to make as less noise as we can. But car's almost done, ready to be put back on the ground. Right, welcome back to the video. It's day 2 putting the car back together. Last night before we left, we put the gearbox in. Should I say, me and Reese put the gearbox back in, put the drive shafts back in, all 3 engine mounts are all back in. Now we're going to put the turbo back on, as well as any of the additional parts that we did remove, like the unknown fab catch can, the oil lines for the catch can, as well as any other small bits. So this video, we're going to show you what's left to put back on the car. Now we've got to this stage, fluid about to go in. Taking the reverse sensor out, even though I put sealant on it already, we'll reseal it up. After the car's back together, we're going to disconnect the injectors. We're going to prime the oil pump again. Because the car's been turned off for a while, there will be no oil in that line. So what we'll do is we'll just crank it till the oil pressure light turns off on the dash, and then the oil pressure gauge shows us a reading. And then once that's done, we'll put this oil feed back onto the turbo, and then we'll do a drive around the block to see how it goes. So we're running this gearbox fluid, Torco MTF. Dom from Delano Built has recommended this with a few of our other mates. So we're going to use this instead of the Honda manual transmission fluid, because we think due to the viscosity of the Honda fluid, that could be the cause of why my gearbox might have failed on track. So let's try this one. Everyone else has said good words about this, so let's see with this. Right, that's it. Car's put back together. Gonna warm up the car, drive around to the end of the road, and then see if everything's all good. I'm gonna try and get into at least 3rd gear, maybe 4th, see how it is. If it does go well, let me know that my first gearbox build worked. If it doesn't go well, let me know to never touch it again. I am gassed. First gearbox I've ever built. Nah. 4th gear, it works. Oh shit. So that is a successful gearbox rebuild and reinstallation to the EK9. I can't actually believe that my first gearbox, on first drive, everything seemed perfectly fine. But here it is, finally. I'm gonna drive it home now, just put a bit more mileage on it, and I think we should be all good. So a big shout out to Butters, who is also the other half of 10K Performance. He usually does the main gearbox building. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't even have the confidence to take this gearbox apart. So without him, I wouldn't be on this level. But thank you very much, Butters. I appreciate that. And also a big shout out to Reese for giving me a big hand putting the gearbox back into the car and giving me a hand before he went on his adventures. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.